Right, what is up? More game engine, Tails engine things. I have a lot more notes when I was editing the previous video. I was just writing down notes that I saw that I was like, you know what, I gotta do this. So one, for example, is triangles strip is actually deprecated. So I should be using triangle strip instead. It's a small mistake, but one that is quite easy to make. So small things like that I'm gonna go through and I'm also thinking maybe this will work. I haven't tested it, but maybe. So I'm just going to pop back into the Tails engine solution and have a bit of a squiz. The first thing I want to do is this. Try the private constructor with the level, meaning I need to go into the world. Because currently, obviously, we're just creating a new thing. I also had a thought, you probably make the make unique function a friend. I'm thinking you can probably do that, right? But because what does reset even take in? Is this even overloaded at all? I don't think it is overloaded at all. It's just one and it's a raw pointer. So I don't think reset can do that. However, operator equals, I'm pretty sure, allows for just a unique pointer. I don't know. Let's let's see. Level to load equals make unique. There we are. Let's put it down here, and there we go. So we want to make unique level, and no, what am I doing? We don't want to make unique. We want to say unique pointer. We can do that, and this works. Can I then do a constructor in here? No, because cannot cast from remove reference T to that by functional cast. Okay, so there's something there. I'm instead going to say make unique, and obviously make unique is going to complain about nothing. No, the compiler will complain. The linter isn't, because it's not clever enough or something. So in level, what we can do is simply declare a friend to be make unique. I don't actually know how this works. How do I declare a friend function? Okay, we have friend functions. What we can do is friend function declaration. So what does a function declaration mean? Simply the entire thing. So what if it's templated? You can't, can you? You can't have a friend templated. Oh, I must have a return type. What is the return type? I don't know. What is it? It's a unique pointer of that type. Oh no. Let's just say level and then make unique level, right? Modification of STD namespace can result in undefined behavior. Is this a modification? Is it? Am I modifying it? What? Is making it a friend a modification of the... Huh? Hang on, I have this Stack Overflow thing. Obviously. And we have a private constructor and a public make unique, which is trying to use the private constructor. And they're saying, so this just replace make unique t with unique pointer u t. This, I think this is where I got it from actually, but this is saying, new t, sure, but you're passing in an instance instead of yeah, you're doing a copy constructor here, which isn't exactly what I want. Okay, well, screw that. I'm just going to have new instead. Let's just go back and keep this as it is. We don't need to change it. We're keeping it as it is, right? Input, yeah. Textures, yeah. Right, the entity shape stuff. Instead of triangle strip or triangles strip, just do triangle strip. And this also doesn't actually need to be here. It can just be this as well. That's nice. Okay, and it says triangle strip is equal to triangle strip anyway, so it was working fine because this is equal to this. So yeah, but I might as well use the correct one anyway. Cool. And then in the asset cache, could use unordered map instead of map. That's true, actually. We could use unordered map because we're not actually doing anything to do with iterators and stuff. So yeah, I think everything still works fine. The only difference is we should do checks and stuff to see if it exists, obviously, right? So if, get the data, if it contains name, actually if it doesn't contain name, whoops, then just return. It's only if it contains it, then it won't get some kind of, thing happening here if this doesn't exist. And then, yeah, we can get the asset here, which, that's fine, actually. I was thinking of renaming this to get asset implementation, but it is public, so we don't need to do that. It's all fine. There may not be a point to having this one be public, but I'm going to leave it public for now. And then here we want to check if the data once again contains the ID. If it doesn't contain the ID, or if it does, we could just do this actually. If it doesn't, we can return no pointer. Yeah, okay, cool. And do that same thing here maybe. No, this is done here. So this would always be valid, so we don't need to check that. And then this is setting it, so that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. You might be able to place it back instead, actually. Do like this, in place, or try in place. We have a hint, a key value, and then mapped value. Or just key value and then mapped value, so we can say ID and then the data. Pretty sure that would work fine. So we can say, if get mdata.contains. So if it contains the ID, we do this. Else, do this and then return. That seems fine. And now I believe we're checking all of them now, so that's all good. Let's make sure it compiles quickly. Obviously it should. Obviously. Naturally it does. Finalize non-polymorphic types. Good point. For example, final. We don't need to derive from this, so what's the point in having it be polymorphic at all? There is none. This is final already. This is final. Engine. This should be polymorphic, so that's fine. We then have other stuff, like that's fine, input, but, object, texture, asset, should be final. The input manager is final. Okay, that's cool. That's all good. So now I'm thinking, engine needs to draw at specific resolution and upscale to window size. Currently, we're just drawing everything at the size it is on the window. So if I can't actually do it here. Or I could probably, but I probably could actually if I go to tests. If we go here, oh, I failed to load it because the image isn't. We've got to copy the player.png, which is here, into here. Here we go. So basically the player, you can see it's drawing at 32 by 32. And if I make it big, it's drawing at 32 by 32, but it's sized up to the window, but it's not got any aspect ratio locking. So we kind of want this behavior, but we want to restrain it to the aspect ratio. And how do we do that? We can use a view, although a view, there's two ways of doing this. You can have a view or you can have a render target. A view would work fine because with a view you can you can set the kind of bounds of what you want to render in the view, and then you render it and then you just size it up. But the issue with the view is the sized up thing isn't the actual pixels sizing up, it's the things that are being rendered. So it's basically just sizing up the sizes instead of like how much they move. So if you move by a pixel, even when it's full screened, it will still move by a pixel based on how many pixels your window is instead of how many pixels your render resolution is. Whereas a render target, if you move by a pixel and it's scaled up, it will move a lot because it's a pixel of how big the pixel is in the thing. So I'm explaining that terribly, but basically a render target is the solution to this problem, which means the engine needs a second render target, one which is the final render, and then one which is the downscaled render or the internal render. So we can say we don't even need a unique pointer for this. We can just have I suppose we could have a unique pointer. Let's here we go. Yeah, render texture. So we want to render texture basically, but I'm thinking I want to have it as a pointer so that I don't need to include it in the engine. Right, I can just forward declare it. But is there really a point to doing that? Does it matter? Probably not. It's going to be initialized in the engine constructor anyway, so whatever, I'm going to include it. Which means we don't need to forward declare this anymore. We just have a render texture. We can say render texture internal or something. So this is the internal render, which will then just have its size be increased. So now in the engine source file, instead of rendering straight to the window, we can render to the render texture. Yeah, so we have the texture.clear, we draw it, we draw the stuff, we display the texture, and then we clear the window, draw the texture to the window via a sprite, and then display the window. So we do like two drawing steps. We want to pass in the render texture internal here, and in the texture internal dot clear, we can, yeah, we do want to clear it. We can clear that, then we draw it, then we display, then we draw it to the window. I'm going to have it on the left screen actually. We display it, then we clear the window. So if the window is valid, then we clear, or actually the render target. We clear the render target, then we draw to the render target. And what we want to draw is the is a sprite, which we can just create here actually. Create a sprite, call it, I don't know, render sprite, which will have the render texture internal. And we want to say dot get texture, and then we can draw this render sprite, and then if it's a window we display it. So the render target is the primary output, and the render texture internal is the internal rendering for the engine. Let's comment this, shall we? The final render output, the internal rendering. Cool. So now we're rendering to that. We can, what do we need to do now? We just need to like scale it up, right? We need to have some kind of thing to censor it in the render target center. Censor it in this, and then also center it in that, while also retaining the aspect ratio. Okay, I have this, which is controlling the 2D camera with views, which seems quite useful. So I'm thinking we have a view in the engine, which essentially just controls how the internal render is displayed in the final render. Call it render view or something. Describes how the internal render will be displayed in the final render. E.g., aspect ratio, size, censoring, etc. Stuff like that. So then we can probably make it have a constructor, right? Yeah, where we have the center and just the rectangle. So this here is saying with half the size of the window. Okay, so these are percentages. So I'm assuming if I give it a float rect, this will be for the percentages. Or something. So for now we can just say, like, I don't know, 0.5, just 0.5 all around, really. I'm not too sure. Also, how is the resolution of this going to be determined? I'm not sure. I'm kind of unsure on all this stuff. Both of these, the only difference in these two is this. Very interesting. There's a mini-map here. Oh wait, no. I've just realized. This is the position and this is the size percentage. right? Yeah, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 25% in, 25% down, then half the screen size across, half the screen size across. So we don't want to use percentages, we want to have like actual aspect ratio stuff. We can set that later, but for now, it'll be interesting to have the, yeah, because there's left top, width and height. It's not left top, right bottom. It's left top, width and height. So that the left, i.e. the X position, can be, yeah, sure, 0.25. 0.25, top can be 0.25, and then we can say 0.5 for these. Yeah, sure, we can just have this. Actually, no, the top can be 0. And then we can have 1 for the height. Or something. That's going to look really weird. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I did a while ago. I saw a function which worked out aspect ratio. Aha, there's this GitHub thing. Source, letterbox effect using a view. This is basically what I want, top and bottom, where you have an aspect ratio, and no matter how you size the window, the internal resolution and ratio is the same. It's exactly what I want. When was this done? April 30th. This year? Oh, that's pretty good then. So, okay, they have a function called get letterbox view. I'm gonna have a function called like calculate internal aspect ratio or something. We can get all we want from like other stuff. So the window ratio, they're saying, compares the aspect ratio of the window to the aspect ratio of the view and sets the view's viewport accordingly in order to achieve a letterbox effect. A new view with a new viewport set is returned. Okay. Okay, I am going to have window width and... No, this would be an int, wouldn't it? Would it? What does window actually return? Hang on, what does this return if I get size? It's a unsigned int. So make it unsigned ints then. Window width, and then unsigned int. Window height. This is saying it does not match the rules, sure, whatever. Dude, I've got the hustle, like, success music stuck in my head. It's so good. And then the usage is, I don't know if I want to do it on resized or just every frame. we can do it at the start here, right? And then we can probably just take this out, put it up here, and say window get size dot x, window get size dot y. Do that, and then do the same thing, but in here for each event that is resized. So we want to do it first initially when we start up, and we don't want to do it every frame apart from when we resize. That should be fine. Yeah, so here they're saying get a letterbox view, and they're doing that, you know, initially. So, and then obviously we need to set the view of the window. I don't know if render targets can set views. Yeah, they can. Okay, let's do that here then. We want to set the view just before drawing. And we can set it to, what does it actually want? A reference, cool. Set it to the render view here. And then we draw. So that should be cool. What methods does this have? Creates, which has width and height and stuff. Yeah, size, because we have size and stuff here, so I want to set the width and height, but this doesn't have a constructor for that. So I think I need to do like .create or something in here anyway. Create it with like, what's the Game Boy Advance resolution? 240 by 160. And then depth buffer. Do I need a depth buffer? Nah. I'll just leave it default. Cool. So now we have a create. We create the render section internal with this. This could be done via like a initial ini file or something. And that's that. Then allow overriding of stuff entity to change vertices and stuff. Oh, what, like set texture and stuff? Sure. Yeah, let's make them virtual. Let's only make this one virtual, actually. We don't need this one to be virtual, because this one just calls the other one. So we really need one of them to be virtual. And then get global bounds, we can make this virtual as well. Okay. So now it's just this, and then input, which I probably won't do today, but we'll see. So now that this compiles correct, yes, we can copy the code. Now I am thinking, instead of having tests be a subdirectory of Tails Engine, instead of Tails Engine be a subdirectory of tests, just an idea, because obviously we've got to copy Tails Engine to the tests folder every time, so why don't we just have the tests be on the desktop, or have a folder in Tails Engine and then have another folder called Tails Engine where we move all of this stuff into, and then we have tests. Instead of having tests, we just have this like that. So now here we say cmake, and because this is just looking for the subdirectory of Tails Engine, it should find it, and now it should work just fine. The only problem is it will have to re-download SFMO and stuff, but that doesn't matter that much. No, cancel that. There we go. So now we have this. This is the game, and this is the engine. So they're two separate things. It's just the engine's part of the game, basically. So whenever we change the engine code, it should automatically update it for the game, which should be very good. And we should be able to just change the engine code in here as well and have it update for everything basically, because this is now referencing Tails game, Tails engine, which is no, that's referencing this. No. Desktop, Tails engine include. Yeah. Tails engine, yeah, okay. So it is referencing the right thing. Good. So if I run this, which I need to compile SFML again, but if I run this, it should all work. Hopefully, hoping that the weird link errors don't return. Nice, it runs. We don't have our sprite though. Oh, it's because it's unable to load it because I deleted it. I gotta make player again. Okay, we have our player. And he's not showing up. So obviously something is wrong. But what? Well, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Let us not do the calculating and see what happens. Possibly. Still nothing. So the issue might not be with the calculating, it might be with the render texture internal, which, I mean, fair enough. What if, because we are just drawing to the render texture internal, which is fine. So, I don't know, maybe the size or something. If I make it the same size as this, what happens? Interesting. Okay, so it's compiling each time, which is good. But there's no sprite. Very strange. Very strange. Wait, I could probably do this draw thing right in here. And then when I resize... No, it does still have this weird white thing. Oh wait, no, it's probably because we're not displaying. We draw and then we display to the window. Or we clear first. We clear first. Obviously. Or not, it just doesn't work. Oh well, whatever. So the issue is with this, I think, with something to do with the render texture internal, where we're clearing it, we're drawing it, then we're displaying it, and then it strikes me as weird that the render target doesn't have a display method, but the texture and the window both do. And they're the only two classes that derive from it. Anyway, we display it, and then we clear this, we set the view. What if I don't set the view? Nothing. Okay, interesting. What if I do render target here? I do that. Like this. We're just not getting anything now. Why am I not getting anything now? This should work. No. We're making the window. Unless this being outside is ruining it. No, yeah, I don't see why that would. Just get it once and it shouldn't change for the run of the program, so. We tick, we clear the render target, we draw to the render target, and then we display it if it's a window. That's the same loop, that's the same stuff that was happening before, no? Nothing's really changed. I mean, it should be the same. This is what it was before, I'm pretty sure. I'm getting super confused. Okay, for some reason I can't find what it was before. But it... Should it not just be this though? Okay, never mind. It just wasn't updating it or something, so maybe it worked just fine. I don't know. Maybe it worked just fine. Because the thing wasn't updating. Oh, okay. So, we calculate it, we do this. Yeah. And then we update this file. And it doesn't work. That's fine. We can just not calculate it. And it still doesn't work. That's fine. We can just... we clear the internal, we draw to the internal, we display the internal, and then we clear the render target. We set the view of the render target. Let's not set the view. Okay. So for some reason, setting the view does something bad. What if I do this? It's not going to change because I didn't update this file. Hang on. There we go. Compile. Okay, so I assume it's like 0 now. So if I set this to the actual Game Boy, which is 240 by 160, I think. I don't actually know, I can't remember. And then play it, it's going to be like blown up, right? No, it's going to be exactly how it was before, which is interesting. That's why we need the view, I assume. But why, when we set the view, does it not do anything? What if here I just say the view dot set. Let's set the size to be just the size of the window, 640 by 480. And then set the center to be 0 and 0. I don't know if the width and the height is percentage based though, so it could be very wrong. We just have to see. Okay. Cool, we have a working view here. I assumed the size was just incorrect then. Because look at that. Maybe the view is just like way off then. Yeah, I assumed the size or something was just wrong. I do that and then run it. Maybe just needed an initial size or something. I also want to clear this with, because this has a color, right? Yeah. Clear it with a cyan. And then clear this with a green. This is going to be really garish, but bear with me. So it seems like setting the center or something is probably the answer. Yeah, so at the moment we just have this weird vertical thing which does resize properly. Does seem to resize properly. Stays in the center. And it does, yeah, it does do that. But for some reason it's super tall. Versus doing this. Oh, interesting. Okay. So you can see this is the blue box is the actual render, like target thing. So obviously the window, the view is not being scaled up properly. For whatever reason, it's not correct. So if I instead say, 240 by 160, obviously that's not going to change because I haven't updated this file. Then we inch ever closer. And it seems to somewhat work. It seems to work. It's just here, which is obviously not what we want. We want it to be like 0.5 or something. I don't actually know if this would probably be way off, actually. It just hasn't done anything. I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave it there for now. I might come back later, but probably tomorrow. So it's been a little bit of time. I can't remember exactly how long, but I haven't been working on the engine for a bit because I've been doing other stuff. Just haven't really had time. And I've also just been thinking, how do I make the views work? Because at the moment, the views are very much, well, the view that I'm trying to use to render like the entire thing is not working properly. I can probably just run the build actually. Yeah, like what is this? Like you can see it has the same, like, kind of the same aspect ratio as the main window. It just doesn't scale up properly. Even though these are saying the width is 1, the height is 1, and the left is 0 and the top is 0. So I don't really know what's happening there. So I'm thinking basically, I don't really know. What if we didn't have a view? What if we just didn't set the view whatsoever and just draw the texture? Just drew the texture. Then it would be the same, but just literally having, okay, so it is just drawing it at that resolution basically. And it's, yeah, and it scales it up. Interesting. So, because this is obviously being drawn at a resolution, and it's being scaled up to fit a percentage of the window. It's being drawn at 240 by 160, which obviously is smaller than this. If I were to draw it at this resolution, it would look fine. I don't mean to debug, but that's fine. It's because I didn't compile this. Yeah, so it looks fine here. The problem with this is, though, it isn't the resolution that I wanted to render at. I wanted to render at this resolution, but what if I put the view back at that resolution? Then it does strange things again. If I just get rid of all occurrences of this calculate thing, which isn't really doing anything anyway, but okay, forget it, I gotta change this main file, otherwise the engine thing doesn't compile. Then it just does the same thing. Interesting. So that's that. Then, so I'm not actually changing the view at all. That's only being used here and down here, which I'm not even calling this anymore. That's, yeah. So it just has a default size essentially. So it's just not drawing at the size of the window for whatever reason. I do have this open still, and this is talking about it, but I think the issue is more the fact that the view just isn't working as I expect it to, which is interesting to me. So let's look back here. We see that we can have it be, okay, so obviously this is saying that it's not percentage based or factor based. This is giving actual sizes. So if I say the render view dot what set view, and then make it a float rect, yeah, width and height. This I think actually does take in percentages. Yeah, a factor of 0 and 1, but I want to see what happens anyway. It's just green. Both views will show the same area of the 2D world. Interesting. If you don't want to define view upon construction, want to modify it later, you can use the equivalent setters .reset or set center and set size. set size. Let's say, what is it? 240 by 160. I think. These are ints. Or is this will be floats? You don't have to have the F's at the end, I don't think. It just helps the compiler, maybe. I don't know. This is needing a recompile up here. Okay. Set center, yeah, which will be, I can just be 0, right? Because this is like not the center of where it appears on the screen. This is the center of where the view is to draw stuff, basically. So if you move the center around, you're essentially panning the camera around the world. So I want it to be the size of the render, and probably not in the center, probably offset by half the size. But I can get to that when I actually get the view working. Okay, so we have this, and it's being scaled up. So now if I offset this by whatever the size is, like that, then it doesn't do anything. Okay, 240 divided by 2 is 120, and then 160 divided by 2 is 80. Okay, we have our thing, and it's scaled up the render to the window. That's good. The only thing we need to do now is, I'm actually going to use reset, just because it seems to be it's just one line instead of two, basically. So the position can be the render texture internal. Nah, you know what, let's just use absolute values for now. We can change it later. We can change it later based on like an IDE file or something that we load from disk, something like that. So we can do that, and then we can, in here, no, we can just do this, which, yeah, so this is setting the viewport, which might completely ruin this. Yeah, it's offset it, which is interesting. So if I just uncomment all of this, then we have some strange behavior going on. Interesting. So, okay, we know for a fact that it works if we don't have this function running. Or not. I think this needs to be gone as well. Never mind. I want to do a quick print just to see when it's actually resized, because if it's resized when the window's created, then no, okay, it's not resized. Okay, so why is it not working anymore then? Why is it not working anymore? I literally just changed it back to how it was, and it's not working. Uh, 240 by 160, sure. Let's just go back to what we were doing before. It's gone. Let's set the center to be 120 by 80, I think. Yeah. Okay, we're back. We're back to this. So I don't know why this reset was going odd. Yeah, it is the reset doing weird things, which is very strange. Oh well. Let's just comment this and say it sets the size and center of the camera initially. Set up world. Set up initial and the target and internal render texture. So the issue I have at the moment is this. This could be just another thing other than render window, and if it's being made here, then how do we like do other stuff basically? Like if we want to override set render target with something else other than render window, then we've got to override this entire constructor, which means none of this will be done. So we want all of the default stuff that we don't want to change in the constructor, but then all of the stuff that we do want to change in some kind of virtual method, I think. Yeah, I think we can have a virtual init which we'll call the set render target. Like that, and then that means in the main we got to say we don't actually need to call init at all, to be fair. No, we do, because this doesn't even do checks on if it's valid or not. Yeah, so we just need to call init somewhere before run. It doesn't need to be before here, it doesn't need to be after, it just needs to be before run somewhere. So we can call it here, and then it should basically run the same. Yeah, cool. So now we have our thing. We don't have the letterbox though, so that will be an issue in this function, I think. Or not. Or it just works straight off the bat. Okay. It just works straight off the bat. Okay, never mind. What was the problem then? What was the problem before with it being offset and stuff? Why is it just working perfectly now? Like, this is genuinely working perfect. Yeah, like you can see in here, the width is 0.8, the height is 1 because it stretches over all of it. The left is offset. We do this, yeah. We go like, you know, ever closer, you see the width approaching 1 because it's almost as wide as the window itself. Why did this just not work before then? I don't know. But it works now, so that's this challenge conquered, I suppose. We don't need to have backgrounds then. And I'm thinking, I think each level would just have a separate camera as well. Yeah, yay, you can see he's here now. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, and because it's being rendered to an internal texture, if you move the entity by 1 pixel, it will actually move like along by 1 pixel. So these pixels that you're seeing here are the physical pixels that the game is being run on, instead of it just being upscaled. So these pixels are just like 100 times bigger than the actual pixels that they're running on, which is what I want, because that's basically how it works with the emulating on the Game Boy Advance. Because obviously the Game Boy Advance screen is a number of pixels, and it didn't have subpixels or whatever. So, you know, yeah, I just want to try and mimic that, basically. So that works. Yay. That was really stupid. That was really stupid. I think I might try and do... Yeah, what else is there for me to do? There's input stuff still. Let's look at my notes. Yeah, we've done that. So there's input stuff, and then there's just different loading from text files, basically, for assets and other stuff. Yeah, pretty much. So it would just be like the ini files are special to specify different things, and this to specify which default assets. Yeah, so the ini file will specify stuff like the render resolution and things, which will be used here. And then you might have some kind of like user settings or something like Unreal has, where you have things like the window size, the default level. No, not the default level. Yeah, that'll be in here. Yeah, actually, we can say that all of the default engine stuff will be in here, and then the user settings stuff will be in here, in init. Could comment that in, actually. Then player-centric things like window size, etc. Set up here. Nice, which then makes sense as to why it's virtual. Well, it's virtual for a different reason than that, but you know, they kind of corroborate. So I want to keep working, but I know that the last video that I did a few days ago, I haven't edited that yet, and it's going to be quite long. So I think I'm just going to stop while I'm ahead, basically. And I'm going on holiday soon, and I want to keep working on this while I'm on holiday. So I probably won't be able to record it. I could screen record it, just not have any audio, or have like background music or something, or like speed it up, I don't know. But yeah, I want to keep working on it on holiday, just because I enjoy it. Just might not be able to upload it. And to be able to do that, I should do source control. So let's add source control into the thing. So this is the game. So yeah, this would be the entire repo, basically. It's just in here. So this is the repo for Tails Engine at the moment. And I don't know if I want to switch the repo to this, or if I want to make a new repo. I want to switch the repo to this, but how do I switch the location of the repository? I don't know. Copy the entire working directory contents, including the Git directory. This will move the entire working directory to the new directory and will not affect the remote directory on GitHub. Okay, I can just copy the stuff. So does that mean I can just, like, essentially... Wait. This is the current Tails Engine repo. If I straight up just copy like this, put it in here, and then I open repository, it just retains everything. Has its origin. We have this stuff. Notes, which is a different notes to this one, it seems. Or it's not actually, I just haven't saved this one, I think. Maybe it is a different one. No, it is a different one, interesting. Oh well. So, yeah, interesting. We have, all of this stuff. Level, texture asset, world, and things. Close all of these folders and just see that all of the root ones basically. Yeah, so it's just like saying get rid of everything, swap out everything else for these. Yeah, so the repo would just be the include, the source, CMake lists, and this. Because the README hasn't changed, so yeah, that all makes quite good sense. I stage it all, and I say commit of initial engine rewrite, turning it into a GBA style engine. Commit it, and then push it. Here we have commit of initial engine rewrite. And we just have this now. Nice. We just have the engine in Git now, in GitHub. And everything is there. All of the old stuff is gone. Need to change the README a bit now, but aside from that, that's pretty cool. Nice. So there we go, it's on Git now. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So now I can, obviously download it for my laptop while on holiday, work on it there and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe try and make a game on it, Anyway, yeah, successfully did letterboxing stuff with views and internal render textures. So yeah, thanks for watching. Nice.